All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Curry, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. This segment is called Michael's Magic Moment. It's my opportunity to play a little snippet from one of our previous episodes, which resonated with our listeners, that I received feedback from, or I felt really had an impact on some people's lives. Hope you enjoy. Going back to this episode, I'm talking about a very, very important topic and such a quick win and an easy way to master your bills. And this is something that involves a bit of time because it involves you putting in a little bit of effort, but it's just like any system or any process. Once it's set up, it just works. Yes, it needs monitoring and it needs tweaking, of course, as things change, like your bills, but it's one of those things that once it's set up, you just follow the same process. Personally, I've been doing it for at least the last 10 years for our family, and it's something that's helped me a lot, and it helps a lot of people. And when I talk to someone about budgeting, if they feel a bit scared or a bit reluctant to get into it and to start making changes to accounts, this is one of the fastest and easiest way to just get the ball rolling. Because what you'll actually find is A, it's obviously going to make your life a lot easier, but secondly, it's going to be a quick win. And it's going to be one of those wins where hopefully you'll have the confidence to be like, you know what, let's keep going. Let's set up our spendings account. Let's set up all the other types of accounts. And it's also probably one of the simplest way to monitor your fixed costs or your regular fixed costs. Now, obviously, nothing's perfect, and this is where it really helps if you have a financial advisor guiding you or your partner, if you can sit down together and talk about it. Being on the same page will make such a difference, and having that extra layer of accountability will make such a difference to this actually working. Now, this is something that, again, gets me very, very excited because it's not just a quick win, but as I said, it's something that is going to help you master your bills and not be scared of them. So many times I talk to people that tell me, you know, just the thought of bills coming in the mail stresses them out, and it's because there's no system or process. Now, me, I say this all the time to my clients, but me as a financial advisor, someone that deals with money regularly, that's studied money, that talks to people about money all the time. If I didn't have a structure like this in place, I wouldn't be able to manage my finances. They would be all over the place because I'd have to try to, manually keep track of things. And it's too hard to keep track of things because in our lives, we get busy. We have things that happen. 1 week, you might be able to do it. 1 month, you might be able to do it. 1 year, even. You might be able to manage your bills manually, keep it all in your head. Don't have a process. Just deal with it as things come. But I can tell you now, as soon as things get a little bit crazy, whether it's a change of job or family or lifestyle or you have a baby or 2 or 3, as life starts getting crazier and time becomes more scarce, if you don't have something like this in place, it's going to get very hard and very stressful. So I hope it helps. I'm going to go back to my favorite parts of this episode, but feel free to listen to the whole thing and to share it with any friends or family that you think might benefit. It could be someone that's been reluctant to manage their money and get into budgeting, or it could be just someone that hasn't really known where to start. I encourage you to pass this episode on to them, get them listening, and hopefully it will help you and them master your bills. The other thing as well is to create a bit of an expense calendar. So essentially to go old school and do it on paper, or to do an online calendar. But the idea is just to have some sort of, or even if it's a list, but just to have some sort of idea as to what your bills are and when they're due. Because remember, we're not just talking monthly bills like phone bills, gym membership, Netflix, Stan. We're also, even school fees sometimes are monthly. We're even talking things like, and you can't forget rent, of course, and debt payments like mortgage payments. But the other bills to factor in are things like electricity, so things that are maybe due every quarter, or car registration, so things that are due once a year, car insurance if you pay that annually, So once these are all factored in, it sort of gives you an idea as to what your bills are, when they're due. And what it also does is that it actually helps you work out how much you need to put away on a regular basis to cover your bills. So, and this can be done in so many different ways. The most simplest way to actually think about it is if you work out your bills for the year, let's say it comes to $24,000 by the time you factor everything in. I'm just using that figure just to keep things simple. Divide it by 12, that's $2,000 a month. If you want to work it out weekly, don't go $2,000 divided by 4, because that's what most people automatically decide to do. Go $24,000 divided by 52, and that makes it a pretty weird figure, like 461, but either way, it gives you an idea as to how much that amount of money actually is weekly or fortnightly. So depends how often you get paid is probably the frequency that you would use, but the idea is just to work out a figure, maybe add a bit of money on the extra fat, and religiously put that money into a bills account. The idea from there is when that money's into that bills account, and let's just say it's monthly, you're putting $2,000 in per month. The idea is that when your direct debits are due, so your monthly bills, and the idea is to direct debit as many of them as possible, the money's already there. When your annual bills come, and what'll happen is over the year, that account will accumulate because you factored in your annual bills and your quarterly bills. And then when your quarterly bill comes in next, let's say electricity or car registration for the year, the idea is that the money's already there and you would just pay from that account to cover that. The idea is to be proactive. The idea is to make sure you put this money aside so that when the bills come, or when you have that month of the year where you just get, 10 annual bills all in one hit, then at least the money's there and you don't have to take it out of your savings or take it out from somewhere else. The other thing as well is what you'll find is by putting money in your bills account on a regular basis, there are some bills you might actually start paying annually to save money. So car insurance is one of them, where with most car insurance companies that I've come across, if you pay annually, it works out cheaper than paying monthly. And if you're putting money aside into a bills account every month, then whether you pay monthly or annually doesn't normally make much of a difference. So it gives you the ability to do that. Even private health insurance, which can be quite costly if you paid it annually, but again, same principle applies. The other thing as well, and a lot of people listening to this might be like, yep, that makes a lot of sense, Michael, but what if I've got no money to start off this bills account? That's a really, really good point. So again, depending on the time of the year that you do this, you might have to start your bills account off with a little bit of a buffer. And sometimes the easiest time to do that is tax time, when you get a tax return that you just start off the account with a month's in advance worth of bills, for example. Or sometimes it could be a bonus that you're receiving of some sort. But the idea is if you can give it a bit of a buffer, that will again make your life a lot easier to make sure that there's always money in that account. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.